This is the Nikon Fe. Arguably one of the greatest semi-professional cameras ever made. It was introduced in the market in 1978 and produced until 1983, when it was replaced by the Nikon Fe2. The camera design was very simple and clever, with features like the double needle light meter, auto exposure lock, aperture priority, multi-exposure lever, and the capability of using every single lens ever produced by Nikon.
This feature sounds very basic nowadays, but back then it was very advanced, especially for a semi-professional camera like the Nikon Fe.
Even with all these advances, this camera wasn't an immediate success. This camera had an electronic shutter and you need batteries to operate the camera properly.
It took some time for the photographers to believe that this camera was as good as the mechanical ones. But when they realized that this camera was just as durable and reliable, it became a no-brainer. Since I got this camera last year, I have used it in many different situations. And time after time, it has delivered excellent negatives for print or scanning. What a perfect day to take some pictures.
But absolutely nothing of this really mattered.
My brother brought me this camera last year after he spent some time in our hometown in Brazil. An old friend of mine, an old friend of ours, Lucas, he sent me this camera as a present. But in reality it was way more than just that. This camera used to belong to his grandfather, Sophonias, which I used to call Vosofo. He was a very good friend of my family. In fact, his entire family were pretty close to ours.
We used to go to the same church back in Brazil, which he was the official photographer. Sometimes, our families would spend the holidays together at the beach in Pontal do Sul, Paraná. He took pictures of me when I was a baby. He took pictures of me singing in the church choir, from our family holidays, from my piano performances.
Without any doubt, he was the first influence I have ever had in photography. I still remember in church when I was 10 or 11 years old, that often he would come to me and ask me to take a picture of him and someone else. He would set the camera, he would put on an aperture priority, measure the light, and hand the camera to me to take the picture. That was something that was absolutely magical to me. The trust that he had on me, on giving that camera on my hand and asking me to do it, was something that made a massive and long-lasting impact in my life, and certainly shaped my way on becoming a photographer. It's true that I cannot say that all these pictures were actually taken with this very camera. After all, he also had a silver version of the Nikon Fe. But the reality is that it really doesn't matter. The important part for me is not about the Nikon. It could have been any camera from any brand, any model, because the important thing for me is the significance that this camera has. It's the story that it carries with it, the memories that come with it, that actually really matters for me. This is the beauty of film photography and film cameras. Nowadays everything feels so fast, feels so disposable, so immediate, that very often we don't spend time to appreciate these small physical things that may generate a massive impact in our lives and somebody else's lives. This is a 40 years old camera, and it carries 40 years of many different histories, including my own, and how I end up becoming a photographer.
O notebook vou dar presente pro papai, tá bom? Ó, fala pra ser mané do teu pai, tá?
Ah, caceta. Tá me zoando, né?
Você sabe que câmera é essa?
Que eu sofro.
Sim, senhor.
Porra, cara, você tá me zoando, André. Porra, você e o Nego são uns bala, cara. Nego, eu vou, cara. Porra, velho. Caraca, meu irmão. Velho, eu tô arrepiado agora, sério. Sério, meu. Ah, mas vocês têm ideia que metade das fotos que a gente tem do Sofo e deu quando era menor que vocês provavelmente veio dessa câmera? Puta merda, cara. Ó, Nego, vem cá, eu vou abraçar o André, mas esse abraço é pra você, tá? Porque esse aqui vem...
Sabia que ia gostar.
Porra, velho, o avião do meu primo e a máquina do vô Sofo, velho. Ai, porra.
When my brother brought me this camera last August, this camera was a bit tired. The years without use and just sitting around has taken its toll on it, and it really needed to have a good maintenance, to have a good clean, to get this camera back to what it's supposed to be.
On November 15th last year, Vosofo passed away at the age of 98.
A few weeks after, I asked my friend Van An, an amazing camera technician, to fix this camera and bring this camera back to his former glory in honor of Vosofo and all the memories that he represents to me. The Nikon Fe has been my main film camera ever since, and is a camera that is gonna be with me for a very, very, very long time, probably for the rest of my life.